I'm surprised it's not making me go sideways. Let's see. Live chat. What's good, guys? Going live from my cell phone. It's a new experience. We are going live from the Combine. I would be going live through my laptop, but today my laptop said, we don't want you to go live. So my laptop won't even work. Shocking. But hey, you know how to come live to you guys somehow. So we're here at the Combine. Clearly, I didn't get to talk to you guys yesterday. The 49ers have a new coach. They have signed quarterback coach Brian Griese, which is an interesting move, right? Because I think when we look at that and we look at that move, I think it was interesting. Obviously, we understand Kyle's going to have connections. He's going to have bring people that he's familiar with and has working experience with. Brian Griese was with his father and with him when they were in Denver together as a backup quarterback. It might have started, actually. So there is a familiarity there. They have experience together. Again, I'm not sure what his actual coaching situation looks like. I don't think he has really too much coaching experience. I apologize for the close-up. But it is interesting. It's an interesting move, right? Because what experience do we have to go back on? Again, one of the big things is we want to develop Trey Lance. We want to develop Trey Lance as a quarterback, and we want one of the better quarterback development coaches, available to do so. And yes, this guy has a former NFL player, and he's been an analyst. Be interesting to see how that translates into a coach who's developing a very young talent. So that's going to be very interesting. See how that plays out. It was pretty cool. We've been bumping into all kind of people here. It's been a blast having Jordan Elliott with me because he's like the ultimate icebreaker. He will literally walk up and introduce himself to anyone and anyone. So as a result, I think that's him right back there, actually. We've been talking to a bunch of people. We talked to Maurice Jones-Drew. We've talked to RG3. We've talked to the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, Eric Bieniemy. Jordan has asked plenty of people about Trey Lance. And so far, from all the football people here in attendance, like the football guys, coaches, former players, anytime this man has asked anyone about Trey Lance, what have they said? Oh,
they love Trey Lance.
They love
Trey Lance.
Trey Lance stonks to the moon. So that's been the consensus from people that are in this industry. They are around it. They're in it. They hear things. So that's been pretty cool to hear and be able to talk with people in the NFL, and especially to get their input on Trey Lance. And again, Eric Bieniemy. We found out again through Jordan in a conversation Jordan had with him that Kyle actually worked under Eric Bieniemy as a graduate assistant at UCLA. So they have plenty of time together, and they know each other extremely well. And essentially what he said is he didn't want to give us a soundbite or get anything crazy, but he said he thinks he's going to be good, and that he's like, that's just my opinion. I think he's a player. I think he's going to be good. He laughed when Jordan asked him the question because he's an NFL coach, and when you're talking about other players, you're talking about other teams, you're not really going to divulge a ton of information. And, he didn't, but he did give us a little bit to say he thinks Trey Lance is going to be pretty good. Jordan also was asking Maurice Jones-Drew a bunch of questions. Again, if you're not following Jordan, you got to. This man has been asking all the right questions to everyone. When he asked Maurice Jones-Drew about Trey Lance, very, very similar answer, but with much more detail. The cool thing about Maurice Jones-Drew is I'll show you. So yesterday, we were right here on the field, so like right around this section on the field, and MJD and the NFL Network crew was right over here. And so they just came and walked up and parked next to us, and we were just talking. We were just shooting the crap, essentially. And Jordan asked him a great question about what he thought about Aaron Banks. And he said, Maurice Jones-Drew said, "Don't sleep on Aaron Banks." He said he's a good offensive lineman. He got hurt again. He got hurt in preseason. And, he made the transfer from left side to right side, making the transfer from college to the NFL. But it was really cool to hear MJD said, "Don't sleep on Banks." When Jordan asked MJD about Trey Sermon, that was a much different answer. And it was interesting because, again, MJD's a running back. He was a running back in this league. He's extremely successful. I mean, that's why he's here at the Combine. He's on the field doing on-field analysis of all the running back workouts and everything and giving his insight. It's what he does for a living. He works for the NFL Network and all that kind of stuff. He did not have good things to say about Trey Sermon. So that's going to be something to be interesting to monitor, because clearly guys like MJD, I'm going to go ahead and trust their opinion. He thought it was an interesting pick. He thought it was interesting that the 49ers went up and traded for Trey Sermon. He basically said, they're starting a 6th-rounder over Trey Sermon. That should tell you everything you need to know. And he was very emphatic. There was no minced words. I'm not going to give you the direct quote in which he said, but he's not a fan of Trey Sermon. So that was interesting. But like I said, not a fan of Trey Sermon, fan of Aaron Banks, fan of Trey Lance. So it's just been a really cool experience, man. We've just been bumping into so many NFL personnel, whether it's reporters, league scouts, coaches. It's insane, man. And it's been really cool to be with Jordan, because he'll ask really good questions and get really good insight. So it's been an experience. We've definitely gotten a sense from, you hear league-wide sources. If we had to throw out league-wide sources are saying that they have a positive outlook on Trey Lance. So again, the big talking point, we heard that from RG3, we heard that from MJD, we heard that from Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. We've heard it from multiple people who actually do this because they love the sport. They don't do it because they need to generate content, generate clicks, all that kind of stuff. They're just in this to talk about football and what they believe, what they see, all that kind of stuff. And so far, the overwhelming response that we continue to get, they like Trey Lance. So that's a good sign. Absolutely love that. Let's see. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop questions in the chat. Would love to hear from you guys. Jesus says, Brad, can you imagine the 49ers trading up to get James Cook? Oh, man. James Cook, he was the star of the show yesterday. Again, we had, right here, again, we were on the opposite side of the fence, so we were on the field. We had Eric BME and a bunch of other coaches actually sitting in this section that we are in right now. And so when the workouts got done, they opened up these gates right here. And all the running backs were coming over to say what's up to Eric BME. And so we got to do a little ear hustling, listen to what they were talking about. Again, James Cook, he was one of the main points of emphasis here for the people at the combine. Again, the cameras were constantly on him, constantly talking about him. And you see the on-field drills. Again, you see it on tape. Again, I had asked James Cook too, because he had mentioned in the media availability, he had mentioned that he had 10 out of 10 hands. And so I asked him, I was like, because he has this great pass blocking rep, on versus Georgia, and it was just a phenomenal rep, and it led to a touchdown, and it was something that was legitimate in regards to his effort to sell out, come across the formation, get a block from a blitzer up the middle. I had asked him about that. He said he was 10 out of 10 pass blocker as well, but you saw on full display the receiving ability, the just fluid athletic ability, the quick cuts, the feet, the balance. James Cook is going to be a dog. So if the 49ers could get their hands on Cook, again, I took him in mock draft 1.0 of mine. He was available in the 5th round. I don't think he will be there in the 5th round. He definitely seems like a 3rd round plus type running back. Again, maybe not every down kind of guy, but he could potentially have a very specific role and a solid role in the NFL. So James Cook made some money. Rachaad White was really nice. Zonovan Knight out of I believe North Carolina State, he looked nice. There's a couple backs that I kind of like that I don't know all these guys yet on tape. And this is my first impression of them, and so I'm seeing the traits on the field, and I'm then going to the tape to confirm if it transfers or it doesn't transfer. And so far, with the prospects that I have kind of been standing out to me on the field, so far the tape is matching. So it's been really exciting. So I still got a lot of guys to go back and watch on film, but there's definitely a lot of players that are standing out here at the Senior Bowl. Or not the Senior Bowl, the Combine. So it's been a great experience. What else happened yesterday? Let me look at some of the questions that you guys got for me. Justin said, any running backs that are on your radar? I went through a couple of them. Again, Rachaad White looked really nice. I liked him a lot. I liked him coming in, though. Bradder, what are your thoughts on Brian Griese? I talk about that a little bit. It's just interesting because I don't think he has a ton of I don't believe he has a ton of experience coaching. I know he has experience as a player and being around the league. Again, when we look at a second-year quarterback, you would like to tie him with a coach that can help him develop. Again, I don't know. I don't know enough to be able to give a positive take or not, because, again, I don't think he really has a track record of being a coach. So we can't go back and be like, oh, well, he helped develop this player, or he was on this staff, and he's coming straight from the booth Monday Night Football. So I think it's going to be a kind of wait and see approach. I think it's a little too early to judge him straight up. I think a lot of people were kind of taken back by the move because, again, no coaching experience. So I think it's going to be something that will be interesting to continue to monitor. Um, but that would definitely be interesting to see. Let's see. Are the 49ers looking to draft Christian Watson? Jordan had asked Christian if he had met with the 49ers, and he confirmed he did. So Christian has met with the 49ers. We'll find out. I feel like Christian has solidified himself as a top 50 prospect. So it's going to be tough, man. It is going to be tough. Let's see what other questions we got here. Any idea who you think would be available at the end of round 2? I don't expect the 49ers to trade up. I actually expect the 49ers to trade up because you have to imagine that they still have Jimmy Garoppolo. And they want to move Jimmy Garoppolo. And if they move Jimmy Garoppolo and they get some draft capital, they are going to have the arsenal to be able to move up and down the draft. So I fully anticipate them not picking at 61. I imagine they're going to identify someone, maybe if they want to get into the back end of the first. Again, the benefit of getting in around 30, 32, 31 is that if you draft a guy there opposed to drafting him in the second, you can have an extra year of a rookie-controlled contract. Again, you can slap first-round picks with that fifth-year option. So that could be a potential if they really wanted that flexibility, or they could just. But I do imagine them moving up. I actually don't see them staying at 61. I think there's a strong viability that they're going to move up because they have a lot of capital in the back end. You package some of that, move up, maybe a player, and again, you still have that asset in Jimmy Garoppolo that should be able to gain you some assets back. Does Hutchinson really look small in person? I have not seen him yet. He's should be over there. We're getting defensive line today on field. Someone said, did you get a chance to take a look at Fortner? Yes, I was actually pleasantly surprised with Luke Fortner out of Kentucky center. He's someone that I'm very excited to hop into the tape for. I have no tape experience with him. But when you look at his mobility, his short area quickness, he has good feet. He's got pretty good explosiveness out of his stance. Again, he's a center. He looks like a guy who would be able to translate to his own scheme, especially with going left to right. So Fortner actually looks like a guy that could be a potential target. So I'm excited to go see what his tape looks like. But that was a good call. Some of you guys have been telling me to look at Luke Fortner out of Kentucky in the chat for, a while now. So good call to you guys who've been telling me to go look at Fortner, because at least eye test, functional mobility. Again, what I'm looking for in offensive linemen, especially tied to Kyle Shanahan and the outside zone, I want offensive linemen who can move. Again, I'm not going to want big fatties. I'm not going to want the big round guys that can't move. It's not something that I see that fits or translates into what Kyle wants to do. So undersized is actually okay. And or mobile offensive lineman. I think that is again, Mike McGlinchey, they drafted him because he could move at 6'8". You look at Brunskill, he can move. You look at Alex Mack, he can move. Lakin can move. Trent can move. Got to get guys that can move on the offensive line. So Fortner did look like one of those guys. So I'm excited to go back and see what the tape looks like. What round do I think Cook will go on? I think Cook has like a third round, could go in the third, could go in the fourth. I think the league is going to like Cook a lot more than, maybe the media would, just based on the devaluation of the position. So I think that's a potential situation, but Cook made some money this week. Cook absolutely made some money this week. So I don't know if he's going to be in range for the 49ers anymore. I really, really don't. So, all right, let me tell you the story, and I'll get back to your guys' questions. Keep dropping in questions in the chat, and I'll keep hitting them. But I want to tell you about my draft crush. So I got a draft crush, and I love how it happened. I love organic draft crushes. I don't like going into situation. It happens where you're like, I think I'm gonna like this guy already, and you put him on, and you're like, yeah, I like this guy. But what was really cool about yesterday is, all the offensive linemen, they're warming up. There's probably 30 of them. They're all right over here in the end zone. They're all getting ready to go. And there's just this one again, these are all monsters. You had Charles Cross, you had Ikwanu, you had some of the best O-line. This O-line class is different. It's a great class for the 49ers too, because potentially needing to replace Lakin, it does feel like Aaron Banks could slide in and replace Lakin, but you still need to get a center and potentially another guard. So this is a great class, I think, to need an offensive lineman. So this how it goes was I'm watching, I'm looking at these guys. I'm literally at this stage, I'm scouting body composition. Like, are you a big fatty, or are you like big and built? So like, I've watched enough football, played enough football to understand and see how body composition can translate to movement skills and ability and things like that. And this one guy that was like walking around getting warm, he looked so pissed. And again, in the combine environment, biggest job interview of your career, and he just looked angry, like just pissed off. And I liked it. And then I was looking at the body composition, and he was not fat. He was built solid. He had good frame, and I liked the demeanor in which he was warming up. And then when he was warming up, we started to like get a glimpse of like, ooh, that guy actually looks athletic. And so that guy ended up being Washington State offensive tackle, Abe Lucas. And then, he was immediately on my radar just from pure body composition and vibe. And then he proceeds to come out and put up back-to-back 5 flats, which is like, if you're running 5 flat as an offensive lineman or sub 540, you're cooking. And I think this particular O-line class had like 4 or 5 offensive linemen run sub 540, which is like, big guys don't move like that, but it's like they're evolving. And so when Abe Lucas came out and ran double 5 flat, that to me was like, okay, that what I saw in the pre-warm-up, I'm confirmed with the long speed. Then we see him on-field drills. You see the lateral mobility. He did get gassed. He did get gassed a little bit in some of the drills. And so I don't think he's a perfect prospect. I don't think he's like going to be a top prospect. But I do see him as a gem, as a guy maybe you get in the 3rd, 4th, 5th. And if you can snag him, and I think he'll need some development, because I then went and watched the tape. You can go watch him play against Drake Jackson against USC, and you can go watch him play against Thibodeau, potentially top 5 defensive end against Oregon. Now, against Drake Jackson, I would say he won that battle. And to me, edge Drake Jackson, number 99 from USC, is going to be a top 50 prospect. So to me, that was a huge confidence boost. You see it transfer from the field to the tape. You see the footwork. You see the mobility. You see it all, man. You see what he has going. And I also see a path where you can develop that further. So what was really cool about that whole situation was seeing a guy in warm-ups, then seeing him go through the process, then putting on the tape, and it all kind of aligning. And it was cool because then I went to his Instagram page, and you had Joe Staley commenting on his stuff, and I was like, oh, it was meant to be. So that was my quick story on my like scouting evaluation of that particular player. But that was a lot of fun because I feel like he's going to be a guy, and it's cool when you can kind of sense that right away. But there's a lot of guys out. There's a lot of offensive linemen that I came away liking. It wasn't just him. Donald Parham out of, I believe, Memphis. Oh, talk about thick boys, and a good thick boy. So I'm excited to get into this. There's a lot of guys out here. Another guy that I really liked coming into this, because as you guys know, I've scouted Donovan West, center out of ASU. I also liked Kellen Diesch, the right tackle from ASU. He ended up running the fastest 40 time out of all offensive linemen, and he's like 6'7". And over 300 pounds. So I like Donovan West, and I also like Kellen Diesch. I mean, basically, dude, if these ASU boys, Rashad White, Kellen Diesch, Donovan West, they have some dogs. I haven't even looked on the defensive side yet, but they have players. So I'm excited to look into the defensive side now. But to me, I knew I had watched and studied the offensive guys going in, and they confirmed. And so now I'm excited to go and look at the defense. But yeah, man, it's been fantastic out here. It's been great just being able to scout, dude, and just watch the talent, watch the football, see who's got it, see who doesn't got it. And again, back to like Abe Lucas, I don't think he's a perfect prospect. I don't think he's polished. I think he's going to need a lot of work in the run game. Coming out of Washington State, they're a spread team. They're primarily pass blocking, or they're running out of pass sets. So I say he needs some work in the run game, but I see the baseline traits that you can develop and put some work into him, and maybe in a year or two he becomes a starter in the NFL. So that's a part of the process that I really, really enjoy. So it's going to be exciting to see where those types of guys go. But there's a lot of offensive linemen in this class. There are a lot of studs in this class, and that is great news for 49ers fans who want the 49ers to add more depth and offensive line help in the draft. So that's huge, absolutely huge. Let's see. Kyler Gordon. I didn't see him out here, to be honest with you. But I watched Kyler on tape. I like Kyler quite a bit. Brad, do you have a chance to look into tight end? Yeah, there was this tight end class isn't great. It's going to be a lot of mid-tier guys, mid to low-tier guys, or mid to low-tier developmental guys. But one guy that stood out to me that I didn't know who he was going into this was Chase Allen, tight end out of Iowa State. He gives me Kittle vibes. He gives me Kittle vibes in the sense of he showed he's a very fluid athlete, especially when they were doing gauntlet drills, and he's showing off the hands and the ability to change direction. I came away very impressed, and then I went to go look to see what his stats were like. Dude didn't eclipse 300 yards receiving in a season. And if you go back and you look at George Kittle coming out of Iowa, over 4 years, he only amassed like 700 and some odd yards. Just extremely underutilized, primarily used as a blocker. But same thing that Kittle did. He came out here, showed the traits, showed the athletic ability, showed all that kind of stuff. Makes you go back and watch the tape. So I'm excited. I think there's some guys. I like Connor Hayward. We developed a new positional name for Connor Hayward, because I have no idea what he will be in the NFL. I called him the tight back. Instead of wide back, I called him tight back. And as a result, because he's 6 foot, 230, but he can run like a running back. He can catch like a wide receiver. He's built like a short tight end. Like it's just like what is he? I don't know. So I call him the tight back. He's going to be a tight back. He's going to be like a hybrid tight end running back. But he's a ball player. And if you have an interest for getting a football player, he'll probably go later too. And if you just find a spot for him, bring him in as maybe a 4th, 5th, 6th round guy. I mean, you can probably get him late because his measurables are going to drop him. People are going to have that same question. Like, he's good, but where does he play? Where does he fit? I think he's a guy that you put all over the place. You use him as a matchup situation. But I liked Connor Hayward. Both Dolich and McBride proved to be, upper echelon in regards to skill set. So that's kind of what I see with the tight end class. But the tight end class so far, I think it's really thin. It's actually it's not top heavy. It's not the best, but I think you can find some players. And especially if you get them in the right system and you develop them and all that kind of stuff. We got a super chat in here. Let me make sure I get that one up, and I'll get back to, again, if you have any questions, drop them in. I'm trying to go in order, so I'm a little behind. I don't know how to pull up the super chat.
This either. It's hot today. I saw it on the weather thing. I thought it was a glitch.
I'm not sure. I'm on my phone, so I'm not really sure how to pull up the super chat. But I see it from Dakota Mule. He says, your evaluation of Cordell Wilson from Ndsu. So I haven't watched tape on him. But I did get to watch him on some on-field drills. I will say this: he needs some polish. He's not like a plus athletic tackle. I would say he's a little bit more lumbery, kind of not ultra precise steps, explosion, quickness. It's kind of, and I don't want it to come across as a negative, but a little like sloppy, for just a lack of a better word. But again, you can polish. You can continue to rep that. You can continue to get better at that. He seems like he's going to be a later round guy, at least just on field. I haven't seen any tape on him other than a couple plays here or there. So I definitely want to go look at him, because a lot of people have been asking me about Cordell Wilson. I've seen some of his highlights. I've seen him just pancake dudes. He looks like he could be a guy that maybe doesn't test well on the field, but you put him in pads and it's completely different player. So that's one thing. It's always something that I'm cognizant of. Just because you're out here on the field and you're really good without pads doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be good with pads on. I have seen myself as a player, I've seen it in other situations where guys look phenomenal in on-field drills, but then when you get them in pads, they're completely different players. So you always just have to make sure that the tape matches. You can't just be like, oh, it looks good in these drills. You have to make sure that the tape at least can show you that it's like comparable or on point, and you can see the transition at least. Let's see. I'm going back to the top where I left off, and I'm going to work my way down. Let's see. Someone says, hello, how's the experience? The experience is better than I could have imagined. This is a bucket list item, and to be in this position, it's priceless, man. It's absolutely priceless. The experience has been absolutely unforgettable up until this point. So I'm very, just blessed and thankful to be in this position, to be here, and to be doing what I'm doing. So it's been an absolute blast. I couldn't be any more thankful to be in this position. Justin said, I really liked Ronnie Rivers. He'll be there late in the draft. That's someone I need to take a look at. Again, Justin's been on point. Justin's been on point with a lot of the guys that he's liked this year. He's been early to a bunch of guys that have proven to be legitimate prospects. So Justin, I see your eye, man. Keep going, dude. Like, keep going, keep grinding at that, man. I see that you can see some of these guys, man. So I appreciate that. Niners need a younger QB coach with good footwork knowledge in the pocket. Maybe. I guess it doesn't matter now. They got the quarterback coach. It's going to be interesting to see what that transition is like. Kyle will be Trey's main coach. Trey needs to work on the release, and that's why he's with Beck now. Let's see. Who else is taking the field? We got defensive linemen today. So this is going to be a big day. NFL loves trenches. NFL loves trenches. It's a big day. They want to see these D linemen. They want to see these O linemen. Because, again, real ones know the game is won and lost in the trenches. So yesterday was a big day in regards to offensive line. Today is going to be another big day in regards to defensive line. And we're going to have some studs out here, especially from the defensive end position. The 49ers are going to need some defensive ends, man. The 49ers need defensive end help. And so that is a hope that, we can identify a couple people out here that could absolutely potentially be in position to help the 49ers here coming up. Let's see, what do I think of Ikem? Butcher his name per usual. He's good, dude. He's one of the best in the class. I think this is gonna, when it's all said and done, this might be one of the better offensive line draft classes that we've seen in a while. So I'm actually excited about that because the offensive line, you had Trevor Penning out here. You had the guy from Central Michigan out here. There's a lot of top-heavy guys in this class, man. There's a lot of hitters here. So offensive line, dude, is stacked. It is absolutely stacked, and I'm very, very excited about that. Let's see, what other stuff do we got here? Trying to catch up in the chat. Again, if you have any questions, comments of players that you like, someone you want me to keep an eye on, drop it in the chat. We got a super chat. I want to see if I can pull that up. Is it pulled up? Justin E says, made my day, Brad. I played D-line 5th through 12th grade and always get into the draft. You're killing it. Love your evaluations, man. Hey, keep at it, Justin, bro. I see you got the itch. We might have Justin become the vice president of Sourdough Scouts, because he's been balling. So we see you. And we see Jesus putting the mod squad to work. I didn't see the comments, but I see you doing the work, my friend. So I appreciate you. I didn't see what he said, but hey, that's why I appreciate having a mod squad around. We see you working, Jesus. Appreciate you, man. Let's see, I'm still working my way down. I keep trying. I want to make sure I get to all your guys' questions. Justin asked if I noticed Ronnie Rivers. I did not. But absolutely will look at him. We might need a replacement for DJ Jones, but he's the highest rated run stopper. Oh, I think we absolutely need a replacement for DJ Jones, and we need depth behind Javon Kinlaw. So it's a multiple pronged situation. So it's not only going to be edge, but it's also going to be interior defensive lineman. Interior defensive lineman is going to be huge, as well as edge. So D-line is going to be another year where they're going to continue to spend on that defensive line. Let's see, Austin Allen, Nebraska tight end, can play, 6'7", great catch point. Yeah, I like Chase Allen a little bit more. Same name, different school. Venus Jones has a little Debo to his game, or Velus Jones, the Tennessee wide receiver. Dude, he ran fast. He had one of the fastest 40s out here. Tommy says smoke Monday to the Niners. I think he'll be out here tomorrow, so that's going to be an interesting one to watch. What are the Niners' chances of landing Hayward? Good. Like I said, I think he's going to be a later round draft prospect. I don't anticipate he's going to be a high pick. I don't think he's going to go before the 4th or before the 5th, again, because I think there's just going to be questions on who he is and what he is and where you're going to put him. And because, again, at 6 foot 230, and he's not a running back, necessarily, he can play running back. And he can actually do pretty well at it, but I don't know if his best skill set is not necessarily going to transition to running back in the NFL. I see him as more of a move guy where you can just move him all over the place. That's kind of how I see him. And again, positionless. I'm all for positionless football, whether on offense or defense. And again, Hayward's one of those guys. That's why we call him the tight back. We don't call him a tight end. We don't call him a running back. We call him a tight back because he's just he's a different guy, and we don't really know how to quantify him. But we can't discount the fact that he's an actual player, and he's going to be pretty good. We just don't know where or how or when. But he seems like a player, 100%. Let's see, starting to catch up a little bit here. Fans are getting excited. I'll get it off my face so we can see some other stuff. Do me a quick favor if you can. Smash that like button for your boy. We're at 49, which is very appropriate, but do me a little favor. Hit that like button. Your boy would appreciate it. Get this thing up a little bit. I would appreciate it. We're at 50. Let's go. 54. I like that I can see in real time the like updates. I like that. So I appreciate you guys. I see we're already 58. Appreciate you guys smashing that like button. Really helps your boy out. You guys are some real ones. I really do appreciate that. Justin says he likes how Smoke Monday hits. Is that a pun? Yeah, I'm excited to see what he looks like, man. Let's see, what else do we got? Jesus asked thoughts on West from ASU. I thought he looked okay. I thought West looked all right. I thought his body composition was not as good as I was hoping for. I think he looked more menacing in pads. But I don't think he did bad. I don't think he did, ultra good. He did average. I think he's a better player on tape. He kind of just blended in from an athletic standpoint, but I think, like I said, I think he looks much better on tape. So let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Sorry, catching up on some comments. Let's see. Again, if you have any questions, comments, players you want me to keep an eye on. Again, we got D-line coming today. I'll give you a look at some of the guys that are headed over here to start to warm up. We can start to look at some body composition, see how some of these guys are built. And see what the vibe is. Give me a second. I want to make sure I get to all you guys' questions first. But while I'm doing that, I can look at what's going on in front of me. Jimmo, or is it Jaimo? Is it a silent J? Says Alex Pierce is a true red zone threat. His routes and ability to win 1v1, go up and get it. So he tested really well. Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati, wide receiver. He tested really well. I'm really excited to hop into that tape and see what he can do, especially with Desmond Ridder throwing him the football. He's a guy that I really, really like. Art the Collector says all the QBs look like second rounders. Yeah, I mean, clearly Malik Willis has the traits. I think he's just, he's going to be tagged as raw. So that's, we'll see how that works out. But thankfully the 49ers aren't looking for another quarterback, so that's good. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's plenty of running backs out here. I'm gonna put together like a defined watch list. Once I get back, probably next week is gonna be kind of like combine and review, breakdowns of not only combine performance but film to back it up to see if what we saw on tape was confirmed, or what we saw on the field was confirmed by tape. So I'm excited to come back to you guys with a lot more content next week, with developed lists, like full lists and breakouts and scouting reports on some of these guys that I've come away to really, really like. Let's see. Defense or offense, what is the biggest priority? To be honest, I feel like it's pretty even on both sides. There's an immense need for wide receiver depth. There's a need for running back depth. There's a need for tight end depth. There's a need for potential starting offensive line. And then if you flip over to the defensive side, there's a need for interior D-line. There's a need for edge. There's a need for safety, a starting safety, and a potential need for cornerback. I will say this. So as you guys know, we are around a lot of people who are in the know and have had lots of conversations. So based on the conversations that we've heard from the source, is that the 49ers aren't going to be going after a top-tier cornerback. They are going to address the cornerback position through free agency, and they are targeting a mid-tier veteran cornerback. So that is, and that was from like one of the top level executives in the 49ers organization. So we've heard that the 49ers, in fact, are going to fill that position of cornerback, but it's going to be through free agency, and it's going to be via veteran. So I know a lot of people have been really, really hyped for potentially drafting, getting up early into the first, getting a Sauce Gardner, maybe a McDuffie, maybe a Kyler Gordon. But it is sounding like the 49ers are going to opt for a veteran cornerback. And again, that is from the source of all sources. And is so again, we'll watch it play out. We're not going to sit here and say anything's locked in stone or anything like that. But based on the strategy, it does appear that that's where they're headed. Also, we heard, too, that the 49ers could be interested in bringing a veteran offensive tackle in as well. And not necessarily a starter, not necessarily a potential starter, just to ensure Mike McGlinchey comes back, just to ensure Mike McGlinchey is good to go. So it does appear that the 49ers could be targeting an offensive tackle in free agency as well. So I think it's clear that in areas of depth where it's needed, where they could potentially have a need for guys to play, it does feel like they're going to go after more veterans than the rookies, because as we've seen, rookies take time to develop. So that is going to be something that we continue to monitor, but that is from some sources here. Again, I know Rob has talked about it already on the Grant Cohn show. That was told from me, from Jordan, from a source that he had. And I don't want to get too in detail about the actual that part of it, but that's what it appears could be in play. Let's see. How did the guards go? I missed them if they did. They did well. There's going to be some guys. Let's see. Boye Mafe is a guy out of Minnesota at edge that could be a guy potentially for the 49ers. Let's see. I'm absolutely waiting to see D'Angelo Malone. I'm very intrigued by Robinson. This guy right here, if I get out the way, I believe that's Haskell Garrett. Looking to see what he does today. Again, I took him in the 5th round in mock 1.0. I'm excited to see what he looks like. Let's see, Perion Winfrey. He has an opportunity, number 23, to make a lot of money today. He made a lot of money at the Senior Bowl out of Oklahoma. Let's see, there's some other guys around me, but excited to see these edge rushers, man. Guys like Dominique Robinson, who is confirmed, who looks to have met with the 49ers and all that kind of stuff. So excited to see that stuff. Let's see what else. But yeah, today's going to be a fun day because I'm excited to see these twitched up defensive ends and defensive tackles and see who could potentially contribute to the 49ers for all that stuff. I would go landscape, but it's locked in this position. So, yeah, man, it's going to be exciting. But I'm looking forward to see what this talent looks like. Looking forward to get back to you guys. Looking forward to get back to you guys about who stands out to me today. I'm going to start paying attention and, again, seeing who stands out from a body competition standpoint. It's a good opportunity to kind of sense the vibe of these guys, how they go about their process of getting locked in and ready to go, very similar to game day. So you can kind of get a sense of like how these guys are going to act before a game, because I guarantee you they're going to have a very similar routine. I mean, now clearly they're getting ready for on-field drills. That's different. But in regards to, are they listening to music? Are they joking around? Are they not talking? Like, we're going to get an idea of these guys and how they prepare to get locked in. So I'm excited, and I'll be able to come back to you guys with some more prospects that really stand out to me. Smash that like button if you haven't already on your way out, and I appreciate everyone for tapping in, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Peace.